Exactly. I'm like, Bill, the fuck is you doing?
There's plenty more to come.
Like
Patient.
I'm truly genuinely fucking tired of the Bill Belichick dick suckers out there that'll absolutely no he could do no wrong as a GM. Like, God, those people are insufferable. I can't. Oh.
All right, we'll get into that too. I can't wait because I'm on the other side there. So I'll be
All right, let's do it.
Yep.
Let's do it. I'll catch you guys in.
Oh my God.
All right, let's go.
Yep.
We're going live in 3, 2, 1.
Long day here at the Hedgebettor. St. Patty's Day. Happy to it. We're back here for another night of destruction. Here we go with the episode 3 of the Diamond Blades podcast with myself, Adam Nazz, joined by sports radio host Shukri Nazz. What's up, pal? How we doing, partner?
Pissed off. I'm not even gonna hold you. Like, we're sitting here on St. Patty's Day, but yet the Patriots' biggest move is bringing back James White. Allen Robinson just signed a 3-year deal with the Los Angeles Rams. What the hell is going on in Foxborough? Is this some sort of the reunion of like the Cosby family or something? Because like I feel like we're sitting around waiting for the Patriots to actually make meaningful moves. Meanwhile, the rest of the NFL and the rest of the contenders in the AFC have gotten better.
I like your passion, but you know,
I'm sorry, but I'm kind of in a pissy mood today.
No, I like it. Patience is key, but bottom line, which is a way better note, baseball is back.
Thank God.
We'll lead off with that as late free agency wave hits. Also, teams finally in spring training. Bobby D goes deep today for the Sox. Yankees make a couple transactions that, you know, had some good, had some bad to it. All right, we'll talk about that. The Bruins are now 10-2-1 in their last 13 games.
Mm-hmm.
On a roll heading into the March 21st trade deadline. We'll share the needs we think the team needs, along with highlighting some players from the Bees and all around the NHL worth mentioning. I want to give a big shout-out to Hedgebettor, everything Justin does for us, man. Great time being here. Got the boys in here today. They had a nice event, so big shout-out there to Hedgebettor. A lot of action going on here with both sports in full swing and clearly an NFL free agency that Shukri isn't happy about. I'm playing the patient game, but we'll dive right into the Major League Baseball. Last time we were on these airwaves, baseball wasn't a thing. Baseball is back.
God.
Good to see spring training here. Shukri, I'll give you the open floor. Just how nice is it for baseball to be back, and what's kind of the coolest thing you've seen so far on the baseball scene?
I mean, the fact that we as baseball fans have been waiting on the Freddie Freeman news for a minute up until yesterday is something that I think for Yankee fans and even baseball fans, there was an air of disappointment and sadness that he didn't return back to Atlanta. Heck, I'm actually disappointed. I wanted Freddie Freeman to come to New York, but I think the coolest thing of it all was just the overall reaction on Twitter, and it's like, oh, wow. Man, baseball Twitter really is feeling it today in regards to Freddie Freeman. But to take it a step further, I will say that the thing that has stood out to me so far is how much excitement there is in regards to the New York Mets, like top two in their rotation between Max Scherzer and Jacob deGrom, because there is legitimate excitement. I mean, deGrom is back and healthy. Scherzer signing that free agent deal with the pitch for the New York Mets. I mean, I've said this on Twitter already the other day. You can follow me at Shukri Wrights, at SHUKRI where I said this is the best 1-2 punch in baseball that we've seen since Kurt Schilling, Randy Johnson, 2001 Arizona Diamondbacks.
Oh, no question. I think it's really cool that Max Scherzer, a veteran, future Hall of Famer, he kind of automatically already takes a step back to a back seat, I should say, to Jake deGrom.
Yeah.
So this is his team. I'm in just here to help, try to win a championship. But back in your point of Freddie Freeman, I think you kind of knew after the Yankees got Anthony Rizzo, and I think that was a good pickup, re-signing, by the way. But, the Dodgers now, it's their World Series to lose. You look at the starting lineup with Betts, Turner, Freeman, Turner, Max Muncy, Will Smith, Taylor. You got Bellinger batting 8th in this lineup when he was an MVP candidate, a year or two ago. So, Freddie Freeman, when he said his goodbyes, he wasn't going to the Red Sox. That was more just leverage and everything like that. And I think from a first base standpoint, I think the Red Sox are pretty locked and loaded on that standpoint too. So at the end of the day, it's good to see free agents, finally sign with teams. That's taken a little bit longer than expected. Then I think it's been like a week, 6 days now since baseball's been officially back. But it's good to see. The question in the air is where Carlos Correa goes. But honestly, I see at this point probably going back to Houston. There is my prediction. But good to see the Red Sox get on the field today. A couple good free agent signings. I think in the bullpen, they had Jake Diekman and. Who's the other guy?
Strom,
yeah. So good, a lefty there, and I think a couple out of the bullpen there.
Yeah.
I think first base will be good with Dahl back. Setting aside, he really cleaned house the last 3-4 months of the year last season. With I think he finished with about 20-something homers. And you got like we talked about on the last podcast too of how Tristan Casas is. A bad man coming from Double-A who will eventually be there, I think, by the end of the season.
For sure.
But we kind of talked a little bit before going on these airwaves here, and I think, Chris Sale's injury, I think they did a little thing with Florida Gulf Coast workouts beforehand. And for me, I think it's a blessing. Could be a blessing in disguise for this team. Because last time I checked, when was the last time you seen Chris Sale through a full season? Another lifetime ago.
2017, maybe, and he had that small DL stint where he still had like 300 strikeouts that season. That was his first year with the Red Sox in 17.
Oh yeah, it was another lifetime ago. My point
exactly. You're right.
I was kind of talking to someone I think earlier today, and I was just like, it's kind of like the Gronk thing where you're like, you don't care how many games he plays, just get him where it kind of, especially in baseball when it's talking about August and September when the heat months are coming up. As you get into October, that's when you're gonna need him. And I think this team, at least on a starting pitching standpoint, can hold their own like they showed last season with Nathan Eovaldi leading the way.
They can, but I was actually mentioning this on the radio show today on Thursday on 91.5 WMFO, where if there was this year where I strongly believe that having depth in your rotation is so important, this is the year. Because this is not your regular 162-game schedule. Now, I don't know if you had the chance to look at the revised schedule. It is compounded as hell. Meaning that you're going to have a lot of doubleheaders, and you need arms. And you need arms that's going to be able to give you innings. So, honestly, yes, I'm for the addition of those two arms in Diekman and Strom on the left side of the bullpen. But you need depth, and you need to get innings out of your rotation because you don't want to go into May with your bullpen beginning to feel that they're burnt out. Especially the way that the season schedule is constructed. And I'm repeating that point because in a year where it absolutely matters the most, this is the year where it matters the most.
I think this is kind of my bold prediction is at the end of the season, he's the fifth starter right now. But Tanner Houck, he's probably had a tremendous offseason. The guy looks like a worker. Throws a flamethrower of absolute filthy slider. I think, he's going to be in at least the top three of this rotation by the end of the season. Even if they went to a one-game playoff. Yeah, I could see him definitely maybe even starting that game. You never know where Chris Sale's arm's going to be.
Wow.
Nathan Eovaldi had a great season last season, but you're only as good as your next pitch. And I think Nick Pavetta was solid last season. I think he can build off that. And Rick Hill coming back, Milton Mass native. We'll have to get him on in Hedgebettor at some point. Great guy, 42, 43 years old. Would be a good guy in the back of the bullpen. I love that 12-6. He used to throw that shit back in the day. But that guy's another atmosphere more than me. That guy's like 6'4" or something like that. So he can really hammer away with that. I think him being in the backside of the rotation at his age, that's I think it's very promising, and it's good to see him back in the Red Sox uniform.
Oh, no question. I think like having him there will be huge. But also at the same time, what is your realistic expectations out of him? Like, do you think
Rich Hill?
Rich Hill? Like, do you think he'll still be able to give you stability in the back end of your rotation.
Yeah, I think he's a 5-inning guy. I think that's all you're looking for out of your fourth or fifth guy. If he comes out 7, that's great. But for him, it's about throwing strikes. It's about keeping guys inside Fenway Park. And bottom line, just being able to savor this bullpen to where you can, because this bullpen's gotten a lot better over the years, over the last year with starting with Garrett Whitlock.
Good point.
Switched his number to number 22. Love that. 22's favorite pitcher is that's a savage number. I want to just say that to begin with. I think I think the guy who has the most to prove this season in the pitching staff wise is Matt Barnes, because Matt Barnes was.
I couldn't agree more.
He was sensational the first half of the season, but he completely drawn. I know people. I think he had something like the yips and I feel that
he definitely did, because if you remember his comments, it sounded like a guy that was, hey man, you gotta get me the hell out of here. You get what I'm saying? So the confidence was gone. That was clear. But I agree with you for this reason here. And the reason is because you heard him a couple of days ago say that he's here to regain his closer role back again. I'm not so sure if Alex Cora is going to be willing to give it back to him so easy this time around, especially the way of how the 2021 season ended for him. Now, if Barnes isn't the closer right away, what are your other options in the bullpen?
Not much.
You don't have any. You don't have much other options. Yeah.
My point is, Matt. To your point, is Matt Barnes isn't going to be handed this closing job. He's going to have to earn it. He's going to have to take it. And Garrett Whitlock, he's going to start the season. He was great for the Sox in the back stretch there,
especially in the bullpen.
I think that's the guy that you see here outside of the free agents coming in that is the only one who has expectations. I go down this list. I got Josh Taylor, I'm not a big fan of. Darwinson Hernandez, flamethrower who gets racked. Austin Davis is horrible.
Yeah.
Sam was up and down, and Ryan Brazier's a pretty average pitcher. So all these guys have no expectations, which leads to me believe that with no expectations, it seems like they can really stretch the envelope and hopefully give this team an opportunity in late games to stay in there, because like through and through, at least the last 5-6 years, the Red Sox have had a really good 1 through 9 offensively, and in order for that to continue, or in order to games turn into wins, it's not just about the hitting, it's about the back end of the bullpen. Well, then if you start getting in the lineup themselves, Dahlback's going to be playing first. Second base is up for grabs unless they go get Trevor Story, which I heard a report today. Not big on Christian Arroyo. And then you got Devers, Bogarts, and then I think Bradley and Hernandez going to play the outfield with Verdugo, and then obviously you got JD DH.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really solid lineup. And then as you bring in the platoon players, as you bring in guys like my point of Arroyo, even Jarren Duran, who saw a lot of time last year, who I think will make the club out of the offseason. Even Rob Refsnyder, who used to play for the Rays there, is a good guy, good utility guy to have.
And offensively for the Red Sox, because again, I had a tremendous conversation about this. The offense for the Red Sox, I'm not worried about at all whatsoever. If you pose me the question right now, what aspect about the Red Sox am I worried about going into 2022? Offense is not it. I'm not worried about the offense.
It's never been
because you know what you're going to get from Devers. You know what you're going to get from Martinez. You know what you're going to get from Bogarts. You know what you're going to get
from these marquee guys.
Exactly.
Yep.
The pitching is the part where I look at, I'm saying, I'm not so sure what you have is enough, because I got news for you, Red Sox Nation. And I say this with the utmost seriousness, but Toronto is for real, especially with the addition that they made with Matt Chapman in that trade, and they have a good solid rotation, but that lineup is reminiscent of what the Yankees lineup used to look like in the late 2000s.
Yeah, and
there is not a single weakness in that lineup if you looked at 1 through 9.
I'll say too, though, I realize they got all these guys with Guerrero. You got George Springer. You just brought in Chapman. You got Bo Bichette. And you think about these guys.
Teoscar Hernandez. Don't forget about people. Forget about Teoscar Hernandez. That dude's got power, and for a guy that's not a marquee name just yet, but he will.
But putting it all together is another thing. Like I thought going into last year, Toronto's got this. We'll have this wild card. The Red Sox probably going to finish in 4th place, and it's going to be.
They finished the game out.
Yeah.
They were there until literally the last day of the season.
All of a sudden, things just click. So it's one thing to have the championship on paper. Like the Dodgers do, like the Yankees do. But it's another thing to go do it.
Are you really throwing shit at the Dodgers and Yankees right now? Like, is this what this is?
Damn right
I mean, right. Meanwhile, the Red Sox are a one-dimensional team. They can hit, but pitching, I mean, after what Nathan Eovaldi, like, what is your best bet in terms of your rotation? But on a serious note, though, I do agree with you when it comes to like the offense in terms of like the Red Sox, but I feel like Toronto is going to be awfully scary, and it impacts both the Red Sox and the Yankees because you look offensively, that lineup is stacked.
It helps the division though.
It
helps. Every game is so.
It matters.
Every game matters.
So now, let me also put it to you this way.
We're forgetting about the Rays too.
I was literally about to get to that point. But check this out.
Yep.
76 of your games are going to be within division. That's damn near half of your schedule. You cannot, whether if you're a Yankee fan or a Red Sox fan, you cannot afford to have a losing record against any of your divisional opponents, especially against Baltimore, but especially 1 through 4 between Tampa Bay, Toronto, and the Yankees. Oh, you could say the same thing about the other 3 that I mentioned in that set right there.
Baltimore might not even win 50 games.
Right. But Baltimore can play the role of spoiler, and you know how that works.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
the hard way. Colin Crawford. Oh, yeah, we all remember that.
Exactly.
I think that was the Rays, but still, it's the same story there.
Yeah.
I think to your point of saying who do you have after Eovaldi, that's back to my point. I think Tanner Houck's going to be one of the guys who you didn't see who come out of the woodwork. They're going to play because he's got tremendous talent. I see him being a high salary guy years to come. He's got such a loose arm, and I know he'll end up being like last year. He was a long reliever guy because he's a young guy, but now he's going to step in, be a young gun, and who knows with Chris Sale's injury history, this guy's going to be up in the rotation, and that's why people will say, oh, who do the Red Sox have for pitches after Chris Sale and Nathan Eovaldi? And I think they have 3 guys that can really hold their own, and Nick Pavetta, Rich Hill, and Tanner Houck. And I think, you get trade deadlines, you have them come around. But, we've been talking about the Red Sox a lot, so let's talk about your Yankees and 2 transactions. I'll start with so they sent Gio Urshela and Gary Sanchez to the Twins for Josh Donaldson, and there was someone else, right?
Yeah, and I think Kenza Falafa, yeah.
Yeah. So did you like that trade? Like, was it? Because you said you were like, I didn't like the trades.
I didn't like the fact that they traded away Gio Urshela because I thought Gio Urshela brought value defensively.
Yeah.
But if we're gonna be honest, you bring in Josh Donaldson, who is not the MVP of old, who's not that caliber of a player anymore, especially going into his age 36 season. I mean, he's been trending downward for 3 straight years, which is part of the reason why I'm not entirely sold with the idea of Josh Donaldson being your everyday third baseman. Because ultimately, I look at it and I look at this particular trade and I say, I like Falafa a lot. I really do, because you know what you're getting defensively. He's a Gold Glove winner. He's one of the better defenders in the American League. And I get that part. But give it to Sanchez, yes. Because I made it a point last season where I said, I'm absolutely freaking done with Gary Sanchez. Reason? Because I am tired of the whole notion of, well, he's a really promising young player who has yet to put it together. We've seen the talent. We've seen him put it together for one season. That was 2017. That's it.
Yeah, he's really hit or miss when it comes.
He really is, and defensively,
awful.
And defensively, his shortcomings is well documented. Everybody knows.
He can't catch.
Like not even just that,
Yeah.
but also the fact that pitchers didn't want to pitch to him last season.
Exactly.
That to me was like, get rid of him, please. I'm done.
That's why when you look at least my side of the Red Sox,
Right.
they're like, no matter if Christian Vasquez hitting or not is up or down. He's always
Pitchers
gonna have
pitching to him.
Love. He's always
Yeah.
going to be there for that side. Do you like this Ben? Was it Rorvet or something?
Oh, yeah.
He's going to be the starting catcher. I don't
It
know
sounds
too much
like
about
yes.
him,
It sounds like that. I know who you're talking about,
Yeah.
like Ben Varvet. If he is, we'll see what he can do. I don't know much about the guy. I'm not gonna pretend that I know like the guy like profile and what he was able to do when he was in Minnesota. I don't know, but I do believe that at least him working with Kyle Higashioka,
It'll help out.
like it'll help out somewhere. Yeah.
I'll tell you, I like the creative sending Josh Donaldson to the Yankees for the Yankees because you know what that just tells everyone in the Yankees nation they're trying to win now. Because Josh Donaldson has been there, he's done that.
Yeah.
He's hit 28 home runs last season with the Twins.
Yeah.
Now he's going to a little league field, probably going to hit at least 30.
And Fenway Park isn't a little
I
league.
never said it wasn't.
I mean, if you want to call Yankee Stadium Little League Field, okay.
They're both little league fields.
Yeah. Except yours is a bit more on the JV side. But what do I know?
JV side, you gotta hit 37 feet in the air.
I mean, Pesky Pole is 302 down the right field line, right? That's shorter.
Yeah,
that's literally shorter
left
than the
field.
short porch in right field Yankee
Yeah.
Stadium. So every time Red Sox fans start chirping about, well, your stadium is a band bit. I'm like, okay. And Fenway Park isn't. All you gotta do is literally hit an achoo down the right field line, and then you have a home run. Cheapy.
It's such a creative piece of hitting when you can get to that pesky pole while there's a whole wall at Yankee Stadium. In
Exactly.
Right field. Just ask. It's like the Houston one too. The Houston one.
Oh, the Crawford boxes.
Oh,
Are you really
brutal.
faulted him for that?
That's just brutal. I'm not faulting anyone for that. We're just talking about sizes of stadiums in this.
Of course.
And they're all small. Get me up to Corey Hills and Quincy Little League Field there.
Oh, jeez, I'll pass. Might as well hit the old Polo Grounds for God's
Oh
sakes.
boy. So I like this lineup that I see. I mean, Anthony
Yeah.
Rizzo with Judge, Stanton, Donaldson, Joey Gallo, who will probably bat 200, but
Have 200 strikes out and probably hit 35 home
Yeah,
runs. Like
Gleyber Torres is one of the best second basemen in baseball.
when he's right, but oh gosh, this guy really. I close my eyes and controlling my emotions, but Gleyber Torres, as long as he's not playing short, he should be fine. Keyword, should be fine.
I'd say not style of play, but a Red Sox guy comparing with a Yankees guy, which makes you hesitant and like kind of get him off my team is the whole Aaron Hicks to JBJ comparison because they have great arms, they play good defensively, but they both hit like shit.
JBJ is fucking worse. Like I'm not even trying to shit on the Red Sox. I'm like,
no.
like any knowledgeable Red Sox fans can honestly admit that JBJ is a hitter fucking sucks. Like he's a pedestrian fucking 215 hitter.
They made that trade. That was
So
worst
the
trade
fact that they traded away Hunter Renfroe to bring back JBJ was like, what?
brutal.
You lose offense.
Oh, yeah.
What the hell are you thinking? But no, the analytics say he can cover a lot of ground in center field. Well, cover a lot of ground while striking out and hitting for low average, dumbass.
You know, I blame Harvard for that trade because it was probably some bullshit analytics guy that like is under Hein Bloom, and it's like, yeah, let's get rid of this guy who hit 30. Yeah, he sucked in the postseason. Maybe JBJ will hit some home runs. Actually, he hit a big one back in 2018, but
after that he went to a freaking dry offensive
I don't
spell.
think he's gotten a hit since then.
No.
So biggest, what do you think
gosh.
before any close on the MLB?
Yeah.
What do you think is the best signing outside of Freeman? If Freeman's even the best.
That's a good one. There's a couple of signings that I really liked so far. Carlos Rondon to the Giants. That's one. And because that one was a 2-year deal, $44 million, a $44 million contract. I like it because when we talk about the San Francisco Giants, we talk about the National League West. I feel like it is going to be a dogfight between the Giants and Dodgers until Fernando Tatis Jr. gets healthy. Because he's going to be out until at least June with the broken.
They're sitting pretty there in third for years to come.
Not years for
come. Dodgers are good.
No, not for years to come. But honestly, not having Fernando Tatis Jr. is a big blow.
Oh, absolutely.
But we've seen crazier things happen over the course of the final, like four and a half months of the regular.
My point is the Padres on the years to come is that they were actively shopping Hosmer and Will Myers this week.
Which
And
blew my mind. I'm
those
like,
guys
why?
are terrific players because I think they realize they're not as good as the Giants or the Dodgers, so they need to get better. And if you can get rid of those guys to get some prospects or something beyond him, they're working more 5 years into the future than trying to win a championship this year or the next
Which
year.
is stunning. This is stunning to believe because I've always felt that the Padres, even though they had their shortcomings with Eric Hosmer and whatnot, they're ready to win now. Like, they're not far away. I strongly believe that. And even last year, before the wheels fell off in the second half of the Padres, they were not far away. Like, listen, like, wait and give Jake Cronenworth another full season, and then you still got Manny Machado at third. You know what you're going to get from him day in and day out. And as well as, like, the shortstop that they just signed, Kim, I think they just signed him to a contract extension. Maybe my memory is incorrect. Yeah. But the Padres are not far off. But I want to go back to what I was saying about Carlos Rondon to the Giants.
Yeah.
The reason why that is such a sneaky freaking good signing is because when you look at the Giants and what they did last year, they were only a game better than the Dodgers. And then the pitching in the National League West is going to be absolutely stingy again this year. So right now, the way that the Giants rotation is looking with Logan Webb, Anthony DeSclafani, and as well as Kevin Gausman and your top three, and you adding a left-hander who can throw 97 to 98 miles per hour, who already has a no-hitter from last season,
Big time.
That's a sneaky damn good move. And the only thing the Giants need now, if they have already, is a number 5 starter. That's it. But they are going to miss Chris Bryant though in that lineup. I will tell you that much.
I will say on the hand of, I think, best signings, and I think this is the truly best signing. It's not Freddie Freeman. It's on the other hand of what his former team did, and they kind of knew that Freddie Freeman was going to leave, so they got the trade
Matt Olson.
for Matt Olson, signed him to an 8-year deal.
I have no problem with that, by the way.
Who's a great offensive player, good on the defensive end too. From what I've seen, I just think you really set a base there to, we're not just going to lose our best marquee player for the last 15 years and all of a sudden go to shit. We're gonna come back. We're gonna play. They got Rosario back too.
Yeah,
I think
which was huge.
Yeah, they're gonna come large and in charge because of the Mets, who have kind of the momentum with the free agency here.
Yeah.
The top 2 pitches. Everyone's talking about them. The reigning world champions, by the way, the Atlanta Braves, are sitting as the underdog, the underrated team,
which is stunning. It really is.
No one's talking about. And I think they have a great chance to at least run the table in the division again.
I think the National League East is going to come down between the Braves and the Mets. I'm not sold on the Phillies right now. They still they have a lot to prove to me and show to me. Mm-hmm. But I'm not going to count out the reigning National League MVP and Bryce Harper either. But in terms of the Braves, it's stunning to me that they're not getting the true respect that they should be getting. After all, are people forgetting that they're getting back a healthy Ronald Acuna, who missed all of the end of July on through the end of the World Series with that injury.
We're gonna move on to the hockey in a second, but it reminds you of when when the Lightning didn't have Stamkos, they didn't have basically one of their best players.
Or Nikita Kucherov, but yeah.
I know they Stamkos
2020, yeah.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Same thing. So
yeah.
You even prove my point more. Yeah. Great stuff on the end. Great to see baseball back. Now we're talking. There's a lot of hot. Actually, there's 2 hot teams in Boston right now: the Boston Celtics and the Boston Bruins.
Oh yeah.
Bruins dropped a tough one last night. If you're better out there, just don't take them in a back-to-back game. Never do that ever, because they're always. They played well last night, but Minnesota kind of had their number at the end of the game there. I really like what they see. I really like what I see out of this. Top line who's becoming play. I mean, Pasternak has been sensational. He's on the score sheet almost every night. He almost is in the double digits of goal games. Jeremy Swayman seems to be the guy. Had kind of an up and down game last night. My point exactly. These back to backs are kind of killing him.
But this is now because we talked about this in the first 2 episodes of this podcast. Mm-hmm. They're now entering the meat grinder of the schedule.
Oh yeah,
it starts now. Mm-hmm. With the back-to-backs and so forth, which is why I'm not even upset about last night's loss. I'll give them credit for the fact that after they fell behind 2-0, They came at the tie with the goals by Craig Smith and correctly Brad Marchand as well.
Yep.
Like
that was a nice.
Which was a really good goal on his part. I'm not upset, but I just feel like the third period became who wanted more. And what I saw from the Wild, with a team that came in the game last night, they were struggling. They were like 4-9, and I think 1 or 2 like going into that.
I think now 2-0 on the Bruins against the Bruins.
Yeah, but they were in a stretch in which that they did not play well for 13, 14 games, and there are people that were wondering like, what direction is this team going in? Because before this bad stretch of hockey for the Minnesota Wild, this was a team that is firmly entrenched in a Stanley Cup playoff position. Last night, they were like, listen, we got to begin to turn this around. We're playing our damn good team again in the Boston Bruins. And you got to give credit to Jordan Greenway, who scored the game-winning goal.
Jordan Greenway, BU guy.
Yeah.
Always, because that's the type of guy, too, who really didn't have it easy to begin his career and has kind of come on there for that Minnesota team.
Oh, yeah.
Big shout-out to Matt Boley, too. Like I did, like when I was doing my newspaper days, I did a couple stories on him. Really, really good kid, and he's seems to be blossoming in Minnesota there. And that's like that's a great matchup because you kind of have the two hockey hubs in the country, Boston and Minnesota,
Cities,
coming together. And great game in general. Like I said, I can't say enough about the Sway man. I think he's coming on in his rookie season. I mean, he played a little bit last year.
Yeah.
I think trade deadline coming up March 21st. I think it stresses on getting a second line center, and David Krejci just ended the season either today or last night somewhere, wherever he is.
Yeah.
So you never know, he could come back. And then I think building a defensive front would be good too. I know the guys have been coming to play. Your guy Charlie McAvoy, bat out of hell last night. He was throwing the mitts at the end of the game there. I like what I've seen from Riley. He's been a good pickup from last season. But a guy for me who I would say in the trade things, Situate mascot. They like bringing home the hometown.
I don't fucking get it. I really don't.
Connor Garland. No, I like Connor Garland.
Like no, it's not against him. Like he is a pretty good player with the Arizona Coyotes. But it's like what is with the attachment and love for the local guys? Like if they're not gonna help you be a better team to what you need them to be come the playoffs.
See,
what are we doing?
For me, it's all chemistry because all these guys can play.
Yeah,
it's just you get Coyle and even had Donato in town. I know you shipped him off for Coyle, but having these guys I think helps you at least find a base of. I know it's cool, rah rah rah. You got the Mass and region guys, but at the end of the day, hockey does come down in the playoffs to chemistry and goaltending. Yeah. That's really what it comes down to. I think good defensive front. Like I said, David Krejci would be a nice get back, but let me put it this way. So the standings set right now. They have a game and one more game than Toronto at 81 points. So they're 79, so they're 2 points back.
Yeah.
And they're the first wild card team. So if the season ended today, you play Florida, and if you take Toronto's spot, you play Tampa. If you're the Bruins, would you rather stay put or try to fight for the 1 seed where you might play Tampa? Florida or Tampa?
Tampa. Because
you'd rather play Tampa?
Because the reality is, and I'm going to start putting this out there now to Bruin fans, you're going to have to face them at some point. Because the harsh truth is this, is that if you are going to get to the finals, you have to exercise those demons of the last 4 years. Not 2, last 4 years. You have not been able to beat Tampa, with the exception of 19 when you didn't face Tampa at all because they got swept by Columbus. 2018, you lost in the second round in 5 games after winning game 1. You lost 4 straight against Tampa Bay.
Well, I'll let you go.
But then 2020, second round after you beat Carolina in the bubble. You won the first game, but you could not beat Tampa Bay again. And then last year you didn't play Tampa Bay at all. But the point is, the Bruins have major playoff demons against the Tampa Bay Lightning. So at this point, I don't even think the question should be asked: would you rather play Tampa Bay or? Because at some point, even if you don't play them in the first round, you're going to run into them.
But right to your point of when 2019, when they made the Stanley Cup, correction, they would be playing Carolina if the season ended today. But I think no matter what, 1 through 8, and we've talked about this.
Yeah.
The playoffs have been decided, knock on wood, basically since November.
Right.
So all these teams, you're going to play a good team to start.
Mm-hmm.
And Tampa's going to play a good team too, whether it's Toronto, whether they play Washington, or even us. But I'm just saying, if you can somehow get a series that's not them, that team that's had your number for years, and I know the Tampa's kind of on a bad stretch, but they're going to get back. They actually have won 2 in a row now. But I'm just saying, if you can avoid them in the first round, it really runs the table and gives another opportunity for a team to knock them out, just like it happened in 2019. I think that's to my point of avoiding these teams, because I think the Bruins can really step in against any of these teams. I'm not buying that they're not a contender for the Stanley Cup right now. I'm not shaking that, because they've been playing better hockey than anyone else in the NHL since the start of the year. The start of the
right.
2022.
And I'm thinking to myself, well, if the Bruins make moves at the trade deadline, which is Monday coming up.
Yep. March 21st.
Yeah. They really gonna have to get creative. Because I was talking about the Bruins today on radio, in which that I said, look, the chance of getting Jacob Chychrun is at 0 right now. And it's not even so much of a hot take, it's because there was a column that was written by
defenseman on the Coyotes.
Yeah.
Yep.
There was a column that was written in today's edition in the Athletic by Fluto Shinzawa. And he talked about, I actually want to pull this up because I talked about this on radio like a few hours ago.
He's got 18 goals in the season. It's crazy the amount of talent that the Arizona Coyotes have, but they're not, like, they're awful.
Yeah.
I mean, like, Phil Kessel's been good. There was a guy from BU I mentioned a couple weeks ago.
This is what he wrote. I'm going to read you the excerpt from the column.
Yep.
The Bruins believe they are in the hunt for Jacob Chychrun. This is from Fluto Shinzawa. This was posted about 10 hours ago. The Bruins believe they are in the hunt for Jacob Chychrun. The Coyotes may not agree. Word around the two clubs is that whatever the Bruins are currently offering is unlikely to outdo the other parties interested in the left-shot defenseman. Los Angeles is also making a pitch for the 23-year-old Chychrun, according to multiple sources. Colleague Scott Wheeler classifies the Kings as having the number 2 prospect pool in the league. The Bruins are at number 27. That, to me, was the most damning information of that column, and that's because I've said this before. We don't really have much of a prospect pool in terms of to work with to make a trade for a meaningful player. And the reality is, like, if there are better offers on the table, why wouldn't the Coyotes take the better offer? Especially if you're in the case of the Los Angeles Kings, who they are a playoff team right now as it currently states.
Agreed, and it's Thursday. You still have a lot of time before that Monday trade deadline.
Right.
But they could offer something, like, because it doesn't even come down to your prospects for me. It comes down to what pick you're going to have, at least in next year's draft. And if you look at the teams in LA and Bruins, it's probably going to be around the same. Wild card, or they're both like kind of wild card teams right now. Kings are up and down the division. I think it could go any way. But like I said, defenseman really to pack this, or second line center, because I said it on the last show. They have a bunch of fourth liners who are playing fourth and third line. You don't need any more fourth liners on the second line, because I think Taylor Hall and Pasternak played well, have been playing well, but at the end of the day,
sure,
you need to get more of a depth, at least your top 2 lines here, to have a chance in postseason play.
So, Speaking of this particular topic, the Bruins, according to Fluto Shinzawa in the article, he said the Bruins will have to include their 2022 first-round pick in the package, but he also would continue to say that like if that were to happen, it would be the third time since 2018 they swapped first-rounders in deadline deals. The other instance was in 2018. They traded that pick to the New York Rangers in the Rick Nash deal. The other time was 2 years ago. The 2020 first rounder and the Andres Kashe deal with the Anaheim Ducks.
Yep.
So even if they're willing to go there again, that's not going to guarantee them anything whatsoever. Because if you're Arizona, let's be frank, yeah, a first round pick sounds nice. So when you change positions against a team that is very likely to make the playoffs right now as it currently states.
You think Bergeron and Marchand have called crazy yet? I feel like
I wouldn't be surprised.
I feel like it's coming.
I truly wouldn't be surprised, but I really wouldn't hold my breath. I mean that sincerely.
Anyone who they would trade for, I would take David.
Like they would, like if that would be the case, he'd have to make a decision now. But I'm telling Bruin fans, please do not hold your breath when it comes to David Krejci.
I'm gonna. I'm ready for
don't.
it. I want it.
Like, I mean, yeah, emotionally, do I want him back? Yeah, sure. But realistically, he has to clear waivers in order to return back to the NHL. That's number one. And then number two, the other part of it is what happens now in terms of the current roster. Like, where would Eric Haller even be slotted? That now presents another problem because right now he's your number 2 center. Not saying that Krejci wouldn't be a better option, but what I'm saying is you just can't take Haller from there and just place him anywhere else in the lineup because the fit isn't there. So you're gonna mess up your fourth line, like
the fit. That's the thing with hockey, though. You're only as good as your last game, and if they ever got Krejci, they would fit him back into I think the third line of the lineup, and then eventually move his.
So where would Coyle go? Because Coyle is you already have an outstanding chemistry and production on your third line between Frederick, Coyle, and as well as Craig Smith. Yep. Why mess around with the chemistry? It makes no sense.
You have David Krejci would be a top 6 forward on your team.
I get that, but you don't want to. In hockey, you see, hockey chemistry is such a fickle thing where if you got a line going and you got chemistry on that line going, you don't want to fool with that. Which is why to me, and I mean this sincerely, getting Krejci back is not as simple as it seems because there is legitimate ripple effects in terms of how does that affect the lines 2 through 4? Who gets slotted where? Like you spent a large chunk of the season trying to find guys that are in the right position, and you worked your asses off in the last 2 months to do that.
You have a good point there, but I'm saying that third line, so they've probably played 60-something games. You think it's meshed for the whole 60 games right now? It's probably been the last 20. Everyone has a hot streak, and I realize they're playing well together, and you let that ride. I don't think there's any separating of the third line. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But to your point, exactly, if Krejci comes in, it's going to create problems for, where does Haller go? Where does the rest of the people go?
Right.
Who's going to get cut? Who's going to get sent down to Providence? There's a whole ripple effect, just like when Tuukka Rask came in.
Exactly, and it disrupted the chemistry in net, and it's clear that it did. And now
to a point though, that was just Tuukka not playing well. There wasn't really too much.
No, in terms of swimming going out of Providence, no, he wasn't happy, and he had a reason to be. But now that Rask was gone, and we talked about this, he knew that this is his net now. He is the guy.
Yeah.
And everybody knows that he is that's the guy now. So for Swayman, I look at it in terms of you don't want to mess with the chemistry, especially with someone who was already playing well. In terms of Krejci, I feel like the ramifications, it sounds nice, but when you begin to think about the ramifications it could potentially have, I'm not so sure this is a good idea.
And back on your point of that, defenseman, if we were able to get that defenseman from Phoenix, either throw in Linus Ullmark or a wash machine, because I'd like to get rid of that contract.
A wash machine? Are we talking General Electric or are we talking Maytag?
Whatever you want, man. Hook it up. Nah, he actually has played a couple of good games in the last couple. I shouldn't completely dog on him, but at the end of the day, he's the backup right now, getting paid way more than the starter, so that should tell you something. Moving now. In this beginning of this, we started talking about the Patriots, and on the way here, Shukri was livid. Before the Patriots,
I was nice and calm. Now I'm beginning to feel my temperature rise.
Player
Warning!
In the National Football
Sorry,
League
audience. I'm about to freaking snap.
Return to the NFL and Tom Brady. By the way, this is our power play round. Bing, bing. Tom Brady returns to the league after a 40-day sit-out. The MLB lockout lasted longer than his retirement by, I think, almost half.
Essentially.
They just signed Chris Godwin to a 3-year billion-dollar deal. It seems like everyone's coming back, so it's great to see Brady play again. I said when Brady retired that I was never going to root for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers again. Well, now he's back, and now I got to root for Tampa again because I'm a two-team guy. You got to root for the Pats, and you got to root for Brady. Brady, so much to this community for the last 20 years. If you're not riding with him, you're not riding with me. I get it. If they're playing each other like they did last season, I'm rooting for the Patriots. Don't get me wrong. But Tom Brady, even in the playoffs last year in the NFC, you got to root for him. Like, how can't you root for him if you're from around these parts?
I refuse to.
You refuse to root for Tom Brady?
I refuse to.
Why?
Because I'm going to be petty. He's not a Patriot anymore. Like, seriously, I get that. I get that he brought us 6 Super Bowl titles. I get that. I literally came across something.
He won his 6 Super. Okay, let me go. He won his 6 Super Bowls. Did so much for this. See, I used to wake up and we're playing another division team. Ha ha! This is gonna be fun. I'm not even gonna remember the second half because the game's gonna be over by halftime.
Yeah, we had that for 20 years. I'm
20
done.
years.
I'm done living in the past. Don't get me wrong. Thank you, Tom Brady, for the memories. Thank you for all that you've done for New England. Thank you. But I'm done living in the past. I'm done living in the past. It doesn't mean I don't appreciate what he's done. However, can we be honest and say that man has become a selfish son of a bitch at this point?
Agreed.
Like, I mean, because let's be honest.
It's all about him.
It's about him at this point. And if you're still one of those that are like, then like, I'm sorry, I can't help you. I can't help you with that because everything that he does is calculated. It's not a coincidence.
No.
Like, it's not a coincidence that when the news first broke in late January, they said, hold up. Not true. Waited a few days later and then announced it himself on via Instagram. So now, here we are in mid-March, and guess what? Oh, I'm coming back. Everything is calculated with this man.
So this is my theory here, and I kind of told you a little bit on the way to the studio.
This ought to be good.
So, I think Flores caused the whole thing because Tom Brady, I think there's been rumors, there's been inside information that Sean Payton and Tom Brady were led to just go to Miami. He's moving to Miami, get everything like that, gets in Belichick's division, gets AFC East, take the AFC East over. And then, all of a sudden, Bill Belichick sends a wrong text to Robert Flores, which throws a wrench in all of their plans, which obviously that was an awful situation, things like that. But that starts with Bill Belichick. So long story short, Sean Payton not in there, Tom Brady not in there. Forget their new head coach's name, but they have him now. They have Tua again. So they're not going over there. So that was avoided because of what? A Bill Belichick missed text message.
Oh, jeez.
Which could have led to Tom Brady not going to Miami.
Keyword, coulda.
Coulda. Theory, though. We will never know. But if we ever do find out, you know who to come to for that call. It's been a hell of a free agency so far. The big news yesterday of Chandler Jones going with Josh McDaniels. Josh McDaniels taking a lot of expatriates in terms of Brandon Bolden and Jacob Johnson, who good role players but not the best there. Patriots haven't done too much. I get it. It's March 17th. Rome wasn't built in a day. But my guy Shukri here, not happy about it. Missing out on free agents.
No shit. Rome wasn't built in a day.
Allen Robinson to the Rams. We weren't getting Von Miller, but Von Miller to the Bills, which, ups the team. You're playing the AFC East division there. And a bunch of guys off the table that, you had your eyes set on. And I think, it is a little upsetting. I like the re-signing of James White, get him back for a year or two, whatever, 2 years I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
But, they need to go out and get some more free agents, and I think they're going to make a lot of noise in the draft because that's the really thing you can look forward to now because you don't know anything in sight. I don't get the Shaq Mason thing opening up cap. My bottom line is there has to be more. There has to be.
What if there isn't?
There will be.
What if there isn't? Because right now the depth on the offensive line, you should feel sick if you are a Patriots fan. Like, honestly, I feel that the depth right now on the offensive line is area of concern. Mm-hmm. But what also concerns me is that Mac Jones doesn't have a number one receiver to throw to. Mm-hmm. What the fuck are we doing? What is Bill truly doing? I'm so fucking sick of seeing tweets like this. You have to realize these teams making these big moves, they had bad years, really bad. Like, They came to a powerhouse. We had 20 years of in the hunt football, despite not having had big splashes in free agency. Stop living in the past. Stop living in the fucking past.
We're in the
like
present.
seriously.
We're in the present.
We don't have Tom Brady anymore. Like you tell me if the season started tomorrow. If the season started tomorrow, who the fuck is Mac Jones throwing to? You tell me.
Kendrick Bourne.
That's your number one option. What a fucking pedestrian of a goddamn team. Pedestrian ass offense. And then oh by the way, you got teams in the AFC who you're gonna be competing with. Oh, dare I disrespect the Buffalo Bills, the same team that we laughed at for 20 fucking years.
They're getting
Heaven
better,
forbid, they're getting even better than what they were last year. And we're still operating like we have a plan, everybody else is stupid. Meanwhile, you get your fucking asses handed to in the AFC wildcard round in Buffalo in the process.
Rookie quarterback.
I get that. Yeah, rookie quarterback and all. But what have you done to get better? Nothing. Zero.
We still got about a month and a half till we realize
You
what we got.
You better show me something, Bill Belichick.
I think he will.
Swear to God.
I think he will. I think you got a guy who got released by the Bills today who is a real good fit for the New England Patriots.
Will he get signed? That's the question.
Cole Beasley. We'll see. I'm just throwing out names here.
No, I get it. No, I get it.
Logan Ryan released by the Giants. I think that'd be a good pickup. We need a couple corners.
Will he get signed by Bill Belichick?
No. I'm just throwing smoke here. And
where smoke is fire.
I guess you're throwing fire. I'm trying to throw smoke, because I don't think nothing is set in stone yet. I like how they retained. I think Devin McCourty is big for this defense coming back, not just because of his play. He's not the player he was, but he's better than that dead corpse of Donta Hightower.
Oh,
I think having Matt Slater back is big for team. They've made a lot of team morale decisions, but I hope they haven't been like, damn, we just missed getting that guy because that hasn't worked out. But we will see. That's the thing with this whole thing. It's a we will see thing, and I get your hostility, and I get that the patience is running out. But just give me another month. Give me one more month. And then
you got one more month. I'm giving you until April 15th.
I'll start screaming.
I'm giving you until April 15th. That's a hard cap.
When's the draft?
Because
EJ Perry going to the Pats now.
When is the NFL draft?
I think it's the 28th. I think it's the 28th. So give me till April 29th, and then we'll talk.
When is the 2022 NFL draft?
NFL draft. I think it's the 28th. I think I did this note. Yeah, but it's Thursday, April 28th. So give me till the 30th, and then we'll talk. But
of next month.
Yep. Of next
okay,
month.
I'll give you. You got until that day.
Okay.
Bill Belichick, you're on the freaking clock.
So you said the biggest need for them is offensive line, or
they need offensive line in the worst way. It's not even a question.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong. My rant about the lack of a number one receiver on this team is legitimate and is fucking real. But they need offensive line help. It's not even funny. Who the hell is going to protect Mac Jones? Right now, you don't even have a starting guard. You don't have a starting tackle on your team.
Just draft everyone from Alabama. We'll see how that works.
Like seriously, the only guy that's a sure thing that's coming back next season, David Andrews. And maybe the right tackle, and that's it.
Is it Isaiah Wynn?
I believe it's Isaiah Wynn, if I remember is correct. Yes.
I know Ferentz is scheduled to start. He's not.
Trent Brown is gone.
Trent Brown's gone. Shaq Mason. I really hope they get someone big, because letting that guy walk to trade to Tom Brady's team.
Yeah.
It would be tough if they're trying to make cap space and then they're not doing anything with the cap. That's dead. And a big thing for Patriots fans to do too. They got everyone they could last season. It's not going to be the same way this year. They have plenty besides the offensive line, besides the corners. Yeah, there are a bunch of stuff to improve on. Don't get me wrong with that.
Right.
Number one receiver, that should definitely be the priority. But you have a double tight end set, and you got a year from Jonnu Smith that was horrible, and you got a year from Hunter Henry that was pretty good. So you got guys with comeback seasons in play, but you just need to see their surrounding cast, come in, and just wait till April 30th. See if anyone else comes in. You never know who could. Who knows? Who knows who else comes over? It could be easy just saying more names, like I mentioned Logan Ryan and Cole Beasley. But we'll see how this plays out. I think Scanling's still out there too.
Yeah.
Will Fuller, right? Yeah. So this guy's still on the table that will be valuable. You got Will Fuller right now. He's your number one receiver, I think, no doubt. There's guys that can really come in and take charge. So give me one more month, Shukri.
I'm willing to give you one more month because I like you a lot.
Appreciate that.
No problem.
I'll wrap on that unless you got anything else.
Oh, no, that's just about it. I mean, for right now, the next big thing is, can the Celtics keep this up? Because I'm starting to get a really legitimate good feeling about this team as we are now rapidly approaching the NBA playoffs, which is about a month from now.
Yep.
So they had a pretty impressive win against the Warriors last night. But, man, I'm really curious to see what the Celtics do from here on out in terms of how they end the season, but even more importantly, the litmus test for this team is not the regular season. This is a team that prior to last season, they got to the Eastern Finals 3 of the last 4 years.
Yeah, and they're built for their lineup because they're only like running 8 guys. They're built for playoff success. I think there's a guy on 98.5 there, Adam Jones, that says teams peak too early. There's no such thing as that. I can't stand, they peaked too early. Oh, they got too many wins out in the regular season. No, they're just playing good basketball.
Exactly. Like what?
And you know what? They're beating good teams too. I mean, that game against Durant was that was the best game Jason Tatum's ever played. Period.
Oh, by
that
far.
Nets game, that was incredible. That was a great win to see. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you didn't come out victorious against the Dallas Mavericks, but that's going to happen. You're going to have losses every other, just like the Bruins the other night against Minnesota. So I think for this team to keep battling, I think they need to luck out and get Cleveland or Chicago in the first round because you don't want to play. I don't think you want to play Milwaukee nor Brooklyn. I don't think Philadelphia is like anything that's like too out of this world. I think Milwaukee and Brooklyn are still the top 2 teams that I would fear if I'm playing a team in the Eastern Conference playoffs. On the other side, obviously, you got the Suns and Golden State there. Golden State's a good team. Steph got hurt. They're really not all, going all cylinders there. Phoenix is a team that's been very underrated this year. They're in first place, best record in the league all year. And then you got the shitty Lake Joe, who's barely even making So that's my wrap on basketball.
Let's bring on the playoffs. Let's go.
Bring it on. Leave no doubt. Hey, March Madness, by the way. Good bracket so far. Thanks for joining the Steel and Naz. We did a little bracket challenge, so it's good there for the boys. Yeah. Thanks for joining us on Diamond Blades tonight. We hope you enjoyed the conversation. I want to give Justin Hedgebettor for making this all possible. Big shout out there. Hope everyone has a great weekend and make it happen out there. Bill Belichick, Shukri's coming for you in the next month if you don't make it happen.
Make something happen. Let's go.
We'll see you next time. Go Sox.
Go Yankees.